Monaco and France from March the 21st to 26th. Recently, we have received a lot of questions. And indeed, this visit has been followed very closely by the media. This is his first overseas visit this year. It is quite significant. Today, we have invited Vice Foreign Minister Wang to brief you on this state visit by President Xi. Now, the floor is yours, Vice Foreign Minister Wang. Thank you. DG Lu, friends from the press, good morning. At the invitation of Italian President Sergio Mattarella, Prince Albert II of Monaco, French President Emmanuel Macron, President Xi will pay state visits to these three countries from March the 21st to 27th. As we all know that 2019 marks the 70th anniversary of the founding of the PRC. It is also a crucial year for achieving the first centenary goal and securing decisive victory in building a moderately prosperous society in all respects. This European trip by President Xi will be the very first overseas visit of the top leader of our party and country. It carries important significance for promoting China's relations with these three countries. It will lend new impetus to the growth of China-EU relations in the new era, create a new space for BRI cooperation, and make new contribution to world peace and development. First, on the visit to Italy. Italy is an important country in the G20 and the EU. After President Mattarella's successful visit to China in 2017, he, on several occasions, sincerely invited President Xi to visit Italy. The Italian government values its relations with China. It has a strong desire to strengthen high-level exchanges and deepen cooperation with China. Our two countries have enjoyed fruitful cooperation in economy, trade, investment, technological innovation, culture, education, and subnational exchanges. This year marks the 15th anniversary of the comprehensive strategic partnership between our two sides, and the next year, the 50th anniversary of our bilateral ties, which now face important development opportunities. This visit by President Xi to Italy will be the first in 10 years by a Chinese president. It carries historical significance as our bilateral relations move forward, building on the progress that has been made. During the visit, President Xi will hold talks with President Mattarella and Prime Minister Conte, and meet with Senate President Casellati and President Fico of the Chamber of Deputies. They will have in-depth discussions on China-Italy and China-EU relations and international and regional issues of mutual interest. In addition to Rome, President Xi will also visit Palermo, the regional capital of Sicily. The two sides are both willing to strengthen their comprehensive strategic partnership to reflect the current level of our bilateral relations and give new substance to our cooperation in the new era. In addition, our two sides will hold in Rome concurrently the 6th meeting of the China-Italy Committee of Business Leaders, the third market cooperation forum, and the 2nd meeting of the cultural cooperation mechanism, which will be attended by members of the economic, business, and cultural communities. By then, the two presidents will have brief meetings with the representatives of those meetings. Such arrangement is the first of its kind in the history of our bilateral relations. It fully reflects the sound momentum of our bilateral relations. During the visit, our two sides will sign government cooperation documents on foreign affairs, trade, business, and culture, and commercial agreements on infrastructure, machinery, and finance. There will also be cooperation documents on the protection of cultural relics. Our two sides will present a common position on strengthening exchanges and cooperation on World Heritage sites and on combating the theft and smuggling of cultural relics globally. Our two sides will also strengthen Belt and Road cooperation and bring more tangible benefits to our two peoples. As for the visit to Monaco, Monaco is an European country with unique characteristics. It has unique international influence in environment protection, culture, sports, and other fields. Since we established diplomatic ties, we have treated each other with respect and as equals, with deepening political mutual trust and unique cooperation in economy, trade, environment protection, culture, and sports. China and Monaco have set a good example of friendly relations between big and small countries. Last September, Prince Albert II made a state visit to China and sincerely invited President Xi to visit Monaco. This will be the first visit to Monaco by the Chinese president. It is of historical significance for our bilateral relations. During the visit, President Xi Jinping will hold talks with Prince Albert II. They will have in-depth discussions on China-Monaco cooperation in political, economic, cultural, environmental protection, and other fields, and usher in a new era for China-Monaco relations. On the visit to France, France is a permanent member of the UN Security Council and an important EU country. It is also the first major Western country to officially establish diplomatic ties with the new China. Our bilateral relationship has gone beyond bilateral scope. It is a strategic and global partnership that reflects the needs of our times. This year marks the 55th anniversary of our bilateral relations. Our bilateral ties are growing steadily and soundly at a high level. During President Macron's visit to China last January, he and President Xi made comprehensive plans for growing our bilateral relations and promoting our cooperation across the board. Our two sides agreed to further elevate the close and enduring comprehensive strategic partnership between our two sides. At last year's Buenos Aires G20 summit, the two presidents had another successful meeting. On such major issues of upholding multilateralism, improving global governance, and tackling climate change, China and France have stayed in close communication and coordination and enjoyed comprehensive and in-depth cooperation in nuclear energy, aviation, space, agriculture, finance, and sustainable development, which have produced new outcomes as we speak. Under the BRI cooperation framework, our two sides have strengthened synergy of our development strategies and promoted third market cooperation. Our cultural exchanges have become more vibrant, with growing substance playing an important role in leading people-to-people exchanges between the East and the West. The visit by President Xi takes place as China-France relations move to the next stage after 5 years of the last state visit by a Chinese head of state. It carries unique and important significance for our bilateral relations. During the visit, President Xi and President Macron will hold large and restricted meetings, a small group dinner. He will meet Prime Minister Philippe, Senate President Lakshay, and President Ferrand of the National Assembly. The two leaders will have in-depth exchanges on China-France, China-EU relations, and international and regional issues of mutual interest. They will witness the signing of cooperation documents on energy, transportation, agriculture, finance, culture, science, and technology. During the visit, the two countries will hold a number of supporting events regarding the 55th anniversary of our diplomatic ties, the 100th anniversary of Chinese students studying and working in France, and on global governance. So with that, I wrap up my briefing. Now I would love to take questions. Thank you, Vice.
All right, that was the briefing from Foreign Ministry, from China's Foreign Ministry on President Xi Jinping's upcoming visit to Europe. The officials from the ministry said Xi Jinping will be visiting Europe from March the 21st to the 27th, with Italy being the first destination. and the visit to Italy will be 10 years for a Chinese national leader to visit the country. And France and also Monaco will be the two other countries that Xi Jinping will be visiting in Europe. For more on the upcoming trip by President Xi Jinping to Europe, we will now talk to Professor Cui Hongjian. He's the director of the Department of European Studies at China Institute of International Studies. Welcome to The World Today on CGTN. For your insight, indeed, Professor Cui. Well, first of all, let's talk about the first destination by President Xi Jinping during his upcoming visit to Europe, Italy. There are actually claims that Italy has decided to sign an agreement on official participation in China's Belt and Road Initiative. What kind of role can Italy play in this initiative?
Just like the Foreign Ministry mentioned that one of the highlights of the Mr. Xi's visit in Italy this time would be both to government is trying to sign MOU to support the government-to-government cooperation in the frame of a BRI. I think firstly it's a very big requirement from the Italian side. As we know, since the Italian government took the position last year. So it gives a very, very big demands from the domestic economy and financial stability and everything. So far, and I think Italy tried to get some opportunities from the cooperation with China, especially in the frame of a BRI. As we know, if we look at the geographic position of Italy, it takes a very, very big advantage to be part of the BRI, because as we know, one of the very, very important principles for BRI is collectivity. So once Italy would be part of the BRI, I think firstly it will give a very big opportunity for Italy to play the potential role to by taking use of its geographic position, and then also we know that Italy is one of the advanced economy, not only in Europe and also in the world. So once there are some more cooperation in industry and even modern agriculture or energy and some other, so I think indeed there will be bigger potential and then very big interests for Italy.
From Italy's new government's decision to join the BRI, the Belt and Road Initiative, can we actually see a kind of new trajectory of the new government's policy towards China?
Yes, I think indeed now within the government, I think at the beginning there are some maybe different views about the Chinese BRI, because some more positive viewpoints said that okay, it would be an opportunity for Italy, but some other maybe more cautious. But I think now, for this moment, once they signed the MOU, it shows a consensus among the different parties in the government. But I think now for the policy of the Italian government, to be part of the BRI, to get some closer cooperation with China, would be a very, very good option to help its policy practice.
Are we going to, from its participation into this initiative, are we going to see more policies that are going to be favor Italy-China relations from the new government?
Yes, certainly, because as we know, one of the big priority for the new government's policy is to, promote the life standard of people, and then to stimulate the economic growth. Because as we know, so far still, there are some problem with the debt, with the deficit of financial in Italy. So how could get a balance, which means that yes, it needs some more cooperation from outside, and also it could keep the stable, financial structure, and to keep the a healthy deficit structure. So
and its cooperation with China in Africa actually can in part to solve this problem of migrants flowing into the Mediterranean area as well. And about France, President Xi Jinping has described China's relationship with France as special among the world's major powers. How special is it?
I think if we look at the history, firstly, just like Chinese government always recognize the importance, said that France is the first country in the Western world to establish relations with China. So China takes the importance of the historic sense of this relations with France. Secondly, as we know that France always take the independent policy, especially foreign policy, within among the most of the Western countries. So the historic sense and also independent policy give a very, very, strong basis for this strategic sense for China and France relations. And of course now, as we know, since President Macron, a very ambitious leader for France, so I think it gives a new dynamic or new maybe a direction for China and France to get some more cooperation. I think that this time, during the visit by President Xi, China and France, we are trying to find out more consensus to support, firstly, the global governance and to uphold the multilateralism. Because as we know, in the background of some rise of unilateralism or protectionism, China and France, both of the important players in international arena, as they get some more consensus, some joint efforts, some joint actions, I think undoubtedly it will give more stability to the world.
Right, thank you very much. Mr. Cu Hongjian, Director of the Department of European Studies at the China Institute of International Studies. Thank you very much for your input on President Xi Jinping's upcoming visit to Europe. Now let's take a look at some other news. Pakistan's Foreign Minister Shah Mahmood Qureshi continues his visit to Beijing. He's been holding talks that include the second phase of massive joint infrastructure initiative in his country. Following the talks, Chinese Foreign Minister Wang reiterated the